Hi. There we are. My name's Brett. I'm the senior product manager on the Elements team. So people here, can I get who's on Elements? Can I get a? Wow. Who wants to be on Elements? Who's not there yet? Sorry. 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 I take bribes. It's all right. That's great. You're my people. So I would love to talk to you. I want to hear what you have to say. Creative people and this whole industry and the energy that you people bring, it's so different from other places that we've been. You have a really special. Yeah. Uh, that's not just something you say at the start of a talk to razz up the crowd. I really mean it. Like you've got something special here. It's beautiful. So we're going to talk about Envato's customers, who they are, and what they want. Firstly, a little bit about me. When I'm not working, I'm a dad, I'm a husband. I used to have hobbies, and now I look after children. This is my wife, Beth, my son, Oscar, and this is the newest addition. This is Poppy. Yeah, she looks like that all the time. You can't get the smile off her face. When I'm not being a dad or a husband, I look after the product of Elements, and what that means is my job essentially is to try and understand our customers, your customers and my customers, figure out who are they, what are their problems, like what are they trying to do, how can we help them achieve that. So that's why they've asked me to come to talk to you today, because obviously that's very valuable information for everybody here. So the purpose of today's presentation is to provide you with the knowledge to make products that your customers love. We're going to cover basic industry trends, a deep look into the Elements and market customers, and a profile of some actual customers that we've been talking to. We're going to start with some basic buying trends. All right, so back in the good old days, most digital creative assets that were sold on the internet were for print projects, not actually for use online. So you're thinking flyers, business cards, that kind of stuff, right? Not too long ago, the most of the assets sold or the files sold on the internet were for websites. So that mostly, like at the start, it was a lot of blogs and that sort of thing, and it's more lately been e-commerce websites, so people trying to sell stuff online. But now we have multimedia content, so we're thinking social media and YouTube is dominating sales online. So if you're doing something that's selling for these kind of industries and these people, you're in a good place for the next 10 years. So what we've found from just selling this stuff across for a long period of time now is that the complex content types like websites and apps sell very well in a marketplace. But the stuff that sells on, that you use a lot of small, simpler items, that sells better in a subscription. And it makes a lot of sense if you think about your customer. If you think about who uses this stuff, it's people who are doing social media campaigns. They might have 5 clients, they might do 10 posts each a day. That's a lot of photos. It's a lot of fonts. It's a lot of graphics. Okay. So a quick little tour through who's buying from which product. Okay. So we have customers who build projects for themselves. Now this is not to be underestimated. This is 20% of all of Envato's customers. The people who buy once, usually. So they're trying to figure out how to build a website for themselves, or they're trying to get the assets to make a logo, and they're looking on Tuts and on YouTube on how to actually build that themselves. We have customers who buy and download sometimes. This is the most of Envato's customers. So people who download and buy infrequently, not every day, but they come back. And then we have my favorite type of customer, who is people who buy and download every day, lots every day. They spend more than an hour on site every day. Okay, Envato Market, which is our first big product, is very good at that middle market. All right, they're pretty good at the professional end, where they use it a lot, and they're okay at the start of people trying to do things by themselves. Envato Elements came along, and it focuses on that professional end of the market. People who need stuff every day, people who download a lot, people who get a lot of value from a subscription model. And recently, people heard of Placeit? Do people know what that is? Yeah. This is new. We bought this company last year. Yeah. So they're a do-it-yourself tool. So if you want their main customer is actually online gaming communities wanting logos for their teams. So people who want to get stuff like that done for themselves. I'll be talking mainly about market and elements today, but I wanted to put that on there because their growth is like that. Like if you can get there, we're moving towards or just have had authors, being able to put content on there. It's growing fast. I'd recommend getting in. All right. Trying to work technology. To make this work, sorry. I'm out of hands. Oh, Vietnamese. On the right-hand side? Oh, that's okay. That changes, hopefully. Yeah. Fixed. Okay, quick look into Elements customers. So first we have Multimedia Creators. These are people who they generally use audio, video, photos, graphics, fonts. You're thinking people making social media on Facebook, Instagram, and all of the new social media that's coming up. You're thinking people who create vlogs, online blogs. You're thinking, and we have this, which I wasn't expecting when I saw these results, but a lot of sports promotional material. So like our customers in this space are people like the NBA, people like Disney use us for this kind of stuff. So big companies. It's also 40% of Elements customers, by far our biggest segment, and it's growing. I'll show you some graphs about that in a sec. I'm going to stop walking around because I don't have enough hands, sorry. All right. Yeah. Okay, the next lot of customers is website creators. So in terms of Envato's customers as a whole, this is our biggest segment. But in terms of Elements, it's only 14%. So these are people who buy more from a marketplace, less from a subscription. Okay, they generally use a little bit of everything, but they're the only customer strong in WordPress on Elements. They make websites, and as I said before, these days, primarily e-commerce websites. So more than 90% of this market identifies freelancers. So they work by themselves. They don't work in a big company. They might have 1 or 2 staff if they're lucky. Okay, they're small companies. They're the most price sensitive. So if we put the price up, sales go down. If we do a sale, we sell lots. Where alternatively, with the multimedia creators, which I think most of your customers are less price sensitive. So they're more after quality, variety, and they're willing to pay for it. Okay. Next we have designers, graphic designers. So not as popular as it used to be. It used to be a bigger chunk of Elements' market, but now it's 33%. They generally download graphics, graphic templates, fonts, add-ons, photos. They make branding, flyers, news articles. A lot of them are transitioning into websites to try and keep their businesses going because there's not as much work in graphic design outside of the social media space. What do we know about these customers? As I said before, like value and variety. So it's lots of different things. Like if you're not just looking for a graphic of a cat looking right, like, you know, you're looking for a white cat looking right at the sun. You know, they're looking for a very specific thing, so variety is good. Next we have Communicators. This blew me away, and someone picked it who I was speaking to at dinner last night. They're like, Elements is just for people who work in businesses, right? They just make presentation. That was news to me when we looked at the data. So it's 13%, which is nothing to be sneezed at. These are people who all they really use is presentation slides and photos. They make mainly PowerPoint presentations, but they also use Keynote. They also use Google Slides. What do we know about these customers? More than 50% work for a company. So, like, very, very different from the last few people we were talking about. These are people like me. I'm this customer. I want to look better than Jimmy, so I get a promotion, and Jimmy doesn't. Okay? No offense, Jimmy. The conversion rate for these customers is very high. We can easily spend money on Google advertising and make our money back. They love Elements. They want to buy it. We also have the lowest lifetime value. Like, how many presentation templates do you need? Like, it's not something you need for a very long time. But that said, they come back. So they're people who, like, got a taste, and then they went away, and they're like, oh, but I miss Elements, and they come back. When they leave, we ask a question of, why did you leave? This cohort of customers, they all tick because I did not need digital assets regularly anymore. So it kind of starts to paint a picture of who this customer is. Okay, oh, that's better. This is a graph of subscriptions per day on Elements over time. So you might not be able to see that up the back, but this blue line here is designers. You see, it's pretty constant. We started with designers. We intentionally went out with design assets, went after that market, and we've kind of stayed pretty safe and steady all the way along. Same with communicators have slowly grown as we've figured out that we can sell to them. Website creators, this is where we launched WordPress, so there's a little bit of a spike, but again, pretty straight. This is where we launched video and audio on Elements. And you see this line here. Okay, so that's now, yeah, the things that we sell every day, more and more and more, and this is increasing. This number's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Here's a look at our subscribers, accumulative. So this is what they actually are over time. Designers are still the most because that's where we started, but you can see multimedia creators, that steep curve, that's going to overtake in about 100 days. Yeah, come on, multimedia creators. You can start to see why I'm very excited to hang out and talk to a bunch of you. Now we'll move on to market. This is the website creator, and as you can see, most of markets most of their customers are website creators. So Theme Forest is still our biggest segment. That is declining. Over time, it's just not as many people are buying the types of things we're selling on those marketplaces. But still it makes most of the money for all of Envato. So these people, what do we know about them? The main thing they buy is WordPress themes and code. What do they make? They make websites, primarily e-commerce websites. This is our largest customer segment in terms of revenue. We have the most new buyers. They are the most price sensitive, again, same across Elements and market. They have a high return rate, and they're mostly freelancers. So you can start to picture this customer. This customer probably started working in their mum's basement, right? Like they didn't start in a big fancy office. They worked by themselves. They probably they might have studied, they might have taught themselves how to make a website. They love it. And they're trying to quit their day job because they hate that they're probably packing shelves in a supermarket and they don't like it and they want to become like you. They want to become website creators. They want to be digital creative people. Does that make sense? Yeah. Out of curiosity, how many people here buy from Envato? How many people are customers of Market or Elements? Customer. Yeah? Thank you. Next we have Multimedia Creators. So this is the same. You can see it's a big chunk, but much and smaller than the size of the Elements market. Remember, these people get more value from a subscription, less value from a marketplace. Thank you. Again, audio, video, and photo are their main things they're looking for. They are, what do they make? Again, social media marketing, Facebook, Instagram, vlogs, sports promotional video. What do we know about these customers? They are the largest segment within this market, seek out unique and fresh content over popular and high selling. Now, we don't have filters for high downloads or high selling on Elements because it creates a negative cycle where people who get to the top, it's very hard to then get in and make money from it as a community. So we intentionally didn't do that, but on Market they can. It's not something we can just take away. So we know these customers are looking for new stuff over the high selling stuff. They actually avoid it if they can. They convert well and they have a higher lifetime value when they're sent to Elements from here. So this is, a lot of people have questions about how we send customers around our different products and our different ecosystems. Like the banner on Market is something that we hear a lot about. This is why. This is the customer that we're fishing for. They're worth a lot of money to the community. Okay, graphic designers. Smaller chunk, right? Like, remember the Elements one? It was pretty big. Pretty small here, 4%. I won't go through it step by step because they have the exact same characteristics as the Elements graphic designers. And an interesting communicator, just 1%. Not as popular as Elements for this market. Again, they do the same thing, but even then they generally will go over and buy an Element subscription. Now, a bit of fun. Who wants to guess where your customers come from? Yeah. So we got the US is cheating because it's blue. So US, what else? Someone said Europe? Brazil? Not in the top 10. India? Number 10. No. Germany, number 2. French, number 7. So, who wants to guess where Indonesia is on the list? It's not bad. It's pretty good. 20. Pretty good. Australia's number 9. You're catching up. Malaysia? No, I'll let you know. It's the US, Germany, the United Kingdom, South Korea, Canada, Italy, France, Spain, Australia, and India. All right. So now we're going to look at some actual customers. So I'd like to introduce you to Ben. Ben is he identifies as a self-help coach. Do you have self-help coaches here? It's a pretty weird concept. It's like he's someone who thinks he can tell you how to live your life better than you can. But people may pay him money for it. And he came to Envato to try and get a website up to get his name out there. He's the person building a website for himself. He let us know that in the past, it had taken him longer than it should have to make a website. His site originally took him a whole month to build. Just to save a little bit of money, he was willing to put a month worth of his own effort in. WordPress was too overwhelming in the end, and he went with a different option. And he just couldn't figure out what he was doing. But in his search for assets, it began on free websites. I think we've all been there. We've all looked for free photos and seen what's come up. But in not being able to find what he wanted, then he came across Theme Forest and the rest of the marketplace, and that's when he purchased from us. So we asked Ben, if you could tell me something to take to our authors, one thing, what would it be? And Ben said, provide clear information about the programs that assets can be opened and edited in. Okay? If you put that on your items, he would be more likely to buy it. Let me introduce Maria. Maria is a part-time professional website creator. Maria works part-time at a nursery, which is like a place where we grow plants. But the rest of her time, she's in a creative design freelancer who's starting to get into building websites. She's not trained in building websites. She's figuring it out to try and start making a living doing what she loves. Just like I know a lot of authors are trying to make an author doing what they love. So Maria said, I do anything and everything that a client needs. Anyone who here have work with clients? Client work? Do they expect everything and don't want to pay very much? Yeah. This is Maria's experience. Yeah. So Maria visited Elements. She does that for two reasons. One is because it affords her the ability to build across all of her customers' needs. So not just a website, but then she can go, do you need a logo? Do you need a business card? And she can offer more services, make more money, and be able to move closer and closer to being able to full-time do what she loves. She doesn't just visit Elements for assets, for files. Now, this is something that we hear almost every customer we speak to. It's the most interesting thing to me is they're often here for inspiration. When they start a project, and they have no idea what to build. I'm sure we've all been there, right? And so you go onto Elements where the best people in the industry are putting their stuff forward. Sometimes she doesn't even use it. She makes it herself from scratch, but she's still getting value from having her Elements subscription without having to download anything. Okay, and this is not unique to Maria. This is almost every type of subscriber that we have. We asked Maria if she had one thing she wanted me to tell to you, and she said, consider that customers are looking for both project commerciality as well as that inspirational step. So if you can create and show how you've done things and put together inspirational cover images and that sort of thing, then that would help Maria. This is Jen. Jen is a full-time graphic designer, like I know some of the people here. Jen, she is employed by a graphic design studio, and her title is Senior Graphic Designer. Her agency specializes in packaging and graphic design. Jen is very experienced with most of the Adobe suite, and is learning more and more to expand her skill sets because, again, her industry is changing. It's not just about building logos anymore. She's doing websites, she's doing videos for social media, etc. Jen says, at the moment, I use 80% Photoshop, Illustrator, and InDesign. I'm also starting to use video software, Premiere, and mostly After Effects. Jen uses Elements to find mock-ups and, again, inspiration. We asked Jen, again, one thing, what do you want to let authors know? And Jen said, what is popular isn't always appealing to all customers, unless they are confident that they can customize it. So if your item is customizable, or if you could demonstrate how it's customizable, you're going to open up your market and how many people you can sell to, because you're going to start being able to sell to people with less skills than required to work on a project that is they might need to do everything from scratch. Does that make sense? All right, last one. This is Stan. Stan thinks he's pretty cool. He's got a so Stan is a full-time freelance marketer. Stan's made it. He's been through that journey. He's worked in his mum's basement. He's done like too much work for too little money. And now people request him. Okay, people search out Stan. He's got a name in the industry. He originally produced music videos and cover art, but now he offers a variety of marketing services to his clients and spends most of his time, no surprise, doing social media stuff, Facebook, Instagram. He is an expert at using the Adobe suite, and he taught himself how to use WordPress a year ago so that he can expand what he can sell to clients, but it's not where his core skill set lies. Stan says, I do a lot of marketing and video work, website work, and business. Elements is a big help as it helps me save time. I really love it. So the value that Stan's getting out of it is it's all of these wonderful, high-quality things all in the same space. He doesn't have to scour the internet to try and find the right thing. The other thing that Stan does is he just doesn't use it in his work for his clients. He uses it for promoting his own business, which is something that I believe someone else is going to talk about later, is the value of promoting your own business. We asked, no, I'll skip to that. So we asked Stan, one thing you want to tell our authors. He said, ensure that versions, customization options, and compatibility information are fully explained in the asset description. Okay, which is something we hear from a lot of customers, particularly on Elements. If you have to update your items in multiple different places to be on market and Elements, I know it's a pain in the bum. Jimmy's going to fix it. You heard it here first. That's it. So, one final thought. If I was going to impart one thing, if I was going to walk away from Indonesia and you had learned one thing, it would be to adopt a mindset of understanding who your customers are. It's incredibly valuable when building products. It's why I have a job. It's if you understand your customers, you understand their needs, and most importantly, you understand their problems. What sucks for these people, and how can you fix it better than your competition does? And that's how you get customers. And that's how you make customers happy. Thank you.